Wanted to check in with him. And Paul, I think you can look at that video and clearly different people are going to wanted to check in with him.
YouTube, wanted to come to you today to touch on this ICE incident in Minneapolis, Minnesota this morning. A 37-year-old white female was shot and killed by ICE agents. She wasn't the target of the investigation or anything. She was a monitor. She monitors ICE. She rides letting immigrants know that ICE is in the neighborhood, impeding their movements and things of that nature. And they usually don't try to get politically involved in this stuff, but this is our country. I served our country for 13 years. It's very important to me that both sides of the coin are looked at equally. And I don't think that's going to be the case here in Minneapolis. It looks like it's going to erupt into violent protest, and more than likely the military will end up in Minneapolis. They'll have to come in to stop some of this, because I'm not sure these people that are protesting this stuff are looking at the big picture of things. But we're going to watch this news broadcast. They've got the best video of this shooting incident. I can't believe it's already out on the net, but it is. They have the best view of it. And we just go over that when we get to it.
And Paul, I think you can look at that video and clearly different people are going to look at that same video and come away with different takes on it.
They sure are, no doubt, Amy and Simone. This was a witnessed incident, and there are several different videos from slightly different angles, so clearly people were out there videotaping what was occurring. I know you just played the video without audio. I have in the newsroom listened to it, viewed it, and I think as the mayor and the police chief filled in some of the holes during their news conference, it appears to be a woman, again, an observer, if you will, or certainly someone who was perhaps they had their car perpendicular in the roadway. It appeared that officers went up, ordered her to move, then ordered her to open the door, and that is when she took off.
Okay, he said the ICE officers ordered her to move. No, they didn't order her to move. They ordered her to get out of the vehicle is what they did. So I don't know why the local news has so many different angles. This is one of the most well documented from all the protesters who are already there following ICE. There's so many camera angles of this, and there's audio of it. And they did not order her to move. They ordered her to get out of the vehicle because she was obstructing justice.
There is an agent, the ICE agent, who eventually pulls the trigger several times in the roadway. And this is where, depending on how you look at it, depending what agency is looking at it, you certainly heard the mayor called DHS's version of events BS. There is an agent in the roadway. There's an open window. Car sort of gets moving, peels out. I want to be careful with my verbiage. Makes a right turn. The agent opened fires into the.
Wants to be careful of his verbiage because he wants to give the angle. He wants to give the best angle for the protesters here. I understand both sides of this, right? But the law is the law. If you're breaking the law, if you're going 56 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour speed zone and you get a ticket, you can't argue that you weren't breaking the law. So if you came here illegally from another country and you're taking in thousands, if not millions of dollars, and you're here illegally, you're breaking the law. And why you would be harbored by a local government to be It just doesn't make any sense at all, except for the local governments are not funding this. It comes from the federal government. Everybody's taxpayer dollars. Like I say, I've served this country for 13 years. I'm a veteran of this country. I can't go to the VA and get health care. I'm not allowed to go get VA health care. 13 years I served my country, and I can't get government health care through the VA. And these people can come here and claim to be a Muslim or are Muslims. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But they don't have to serve their country, and they get government health care benefits. Come on, they're here illegally, people. They're breaking the law.
Window, that car rolls down the road just a little bit further, and that is where it crashes into another vehicle, and they eventually get medical care. And as we now know, the 37-year-old woman perished. She died from the gunshot injuries from that incident. So there is video. The investigation will obviously play out. And Ryan, in our booth, wants to tell me now that we can play it with some audio. Why don't we roll that for you now?
If you're an admin business partner or an EA and you're not using the van to book business travel, you need to switch. Hi, I'm Tina.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my...
Okay, so look right here on the back window of her car. You see all those little stickers around there? I'm going to say some of those are because she's an activist, but I'm going to say some of those is probably she has children. This is a 37-year-old white female parked across the road to block ICE from moving. I believe this is an ICE vehicle parked in front of her with the door open. This agent is standing in front of her car. He's up in front of her car. These two other agents just got out of a truck behind her. They have their emergency lights on. The guy on with his hand on her door is ordering her out of the vehicle. Instead of her going to jail or taking care of her kids or being at home doing whatever she needs to be doing, she's out here following ICE, blowing up. Look, I hate it that this lady's dead. It's absolutely unnecessary. But when she decides that she's going to flee, there's an officer in front of the vehicle. He's the only one that drew his weapon and shot. She almost ran him over. Look at the ice on the road. What if she would have ran him over? She would go to jail for assaulting a police officer. She's obstructing justice already. That's why they're getting her out of the vehicle. She's obstructing justice. It's against the law to do that. You have to know, why not let these people do their jobs? They're federal law enforcement officers. Let them do their jobs. Let the court system sort out if they're right or wrong. It's not up to the citizens to go out here and decide what's right or wrong. These people are law enforcement officers. They're perfectly within their right. They all could have shot into the vehicle and been justified because she used her vehicle as a weapon when she starts to leave.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my...
And there it goes. We're just going to play the very initial, sound.
This is so aggravating to me that these people go out here. It's not what they're doing. They're not hurting it until she used her car as a weapon. This is tragic, and she should still be alive today. And she would be alive today if she was just minding her own business. It's just that simple. I mean, you have the right to protest, but you don't have a right to obstruct justice. It should be against the law for these people to go around and notify the whole public that these agents are on their way to do their job. Let them round these people up. Let them take them to the court system. Let the court system give these people their process and either get them out of the country or let them come back home. This makes no sense to me. There's so much ice on the road. It's so dangerous already. There's so much focus on the ICE agents. They're targeted as it is. They're law enforcement officers. They could give her a ticket for speeding if they wanted to, but she's impeding their process. And with the weather conditions, everything, it just makes it that much more dangerous. And when she starts to leave, that officer's in front of her vehicle, because I believe he just got out of this white vehicle and was walking around the front of her vehicle. And that turned her car into a weapon, a 2,500-pound weapon. When she takes off like that, and he's well within, it's definitely a justified shooting at that point because she weaponized her vehicle. She probably wasn't thinking of that. She just thought, I don't want to go to jail, so I'm going to leave. And not paying attention to the officer in front of her car. I don't think this lady was like, I think I'm going to run over this guy. I think she just knew that she was in trouble, and she tried to leave. But with them sitting behind her in their truck with the emergency lights on, she is at that point detained by the police. She's not allowed to leave. When they're getting her out of the vehicle and ordering her to shut the vehicle off, she's not allowed to leave then. You can't just do that. And this lady is probably not related to any of these people that are being rounded up or anything else. She's just part of this activist group, when she probably should be at home with her children or waiting for their children. It's so tragic. It's just unnecessary.
Or so there, but there's this apparent effort. Perhaps ICE was moving down the road. You could see that one, I believe it's a pickup truck. Yeah, the pickup truck, that's ICE trying to get down the road. The woman again begins with a car
and take into account, these guys don't ride around with their emergency lights on to let everybody know they're coming. That's why they're in so many kinds of different vehicles right here, because they try to stay low-key under the radar. This just infuriates me that this lady is dead, and it's her fault that she's dead. And it's such a tragedy. I hate to see any American citizen get killed in this country by another American citizen. That this just doesn't make sense to me why this lady would be out doing what she's doing. I don't understand that. I really don't. You have the right to protest in a peaceful manner. You don't have the right to obstruct justice. You don't have the right to use your vehicle as a weapon. And they're going to burn this place to the ground now. They're going to burn, the protesters will burn Minneapolis to the ground because they're not educating themselves on the law, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, and you're just not allowed to do what they are doing. You can protest all you want. I mean, people have the right, you have a right to burn the flag, turn it upside down, do whatever you want to do. It doesn't bother me. They make 1 million of them a day. Like I said, I served our country to give you the right to burn the flag. I don't care. I've got one hanging up. You won't burn it. You might burn yours, but you won't burn mine.
position. I don't know how exactly that would have happened, but she did appear to perhaps be blocking ICE's progress towards a target, towards a destination. I don't know. The agents got out. They were angry. They ordered her to leave. They reached for her door a couple of times, and that is when she kind of peels out to the right, and then there is an agent right there who opens fire into the window, and she is subsequently killed. So this video.
And another thing, this guy was justified in the shooting, but he probably more than likely won't come back to work after this. He's put on administrative duty now. He's not allowed to be out on patrol. He's going to live with the fact that he shot this lady. But that's their training. That's exactly the way they train. It is a reaction. This happened so fast. He didn't have time to think, I'm just going to shoot her in the face. When she started rolling forward, as part of their training, they train all of the time for this. And this probably ended this man's career. He probably won't want to come back to work because of this. It's such a bad deal. People don't think about, these guys are just doing a job. And it's not a very high-paying job. And it's not a fun job, but it is a necessary job. Why you want to come out here and mess with somebody just doing their job? They're not out here killing people. They're not out here kidnapping people. They're just enforcing the law. That's all they're doing. And they've been very lenient about it, in my opinion, because obstructing justice is against the law. So coming out here to notify the whole public that ICE is in the neighborhood and they're coming is obstruction of justice. All these people could be arrested, charged, and found guilty for that. I don't understand why they want to do this. It's crazy. If you want the Democrats to take office back, just get out and vote next time around. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican office, as long as they're doing their job.
Will be closely scrutinized by people on all sides, investigators. Hennepin County Attorney's Office has chimed in with commentary about wanting a local investigation. We heard during the news conference that the FBI with the BCA will take a look at the investigation, the use of force. Authorities at that news conference didn't appear to know exactly what could transpire on a potential charging decision when you have a federal agent working an operation in the city of Minneapolis. But no doubt, Amy, Simone, this was very much a witnessed event, a documented event. And now, whether you call it finger pointing, clearly there's anger. There was an emphasis from the city to get ICE agents out of there. They were the targets of the protest that quickly developed around there. Karen Scullin was out in it. Chemical irritants needed to be used to at least push back some of the gathering crowd. And it didn't make the news last night, but we had in our newsroom took a look at an incident yesterday where we now understand there was a car crash where ICE perhaps was pursuing somebody out in Eden Prairie, and there was a car crash from a fleeing we believe a target of the ICE investigation. There was a mashup at an intersection there, and I saw some of the aftermath video from witnesses who quickly turned their disdain and anger and angst towards the ICE agents. People very much concerned over the last several weeks since the
And so why would the local news make it sound like it was the ICE agent's fault that there was a subject fleeing from them and ran a red light and had a wreck? They're putting people's lives at jeopardy there. These people that are running from the police. This lady that got shot could have very well pulled out in front of a vehicle or something, but she could have ran over this officer too. And that is such a tragic event. People just let these people do their jobs and let the court sort out if it's right or wrong, and then go from there. If the court makes a bad decision, then protest it.
Now, the city of Minneapolis is responding and reeling from what took place there in the Powderhorn neighborhood earlier this morning.
Yeah, that's what's so ironic is, Police Chief Brian O'Hara just hosting his, year in review meeting yesterday for 2025. And he literally, in that same press conference, just said his fear is that something of this nature, of this capacity, could happen. As we know, they have said this is the largest immigration enforcement operation that we have seen. 2,000 agents deployed here to the Twin Cities, and now this happens here today.
And when you don't have a system of communication, right? It's a federal operation, and there are agents coming in from other states. We know just from talking with police chiefs that in Minneapolis and St. Paul that there are local federal agents that they know and they work with often, but then others.
Okay, I think we know where the rest of this is probably headed. It's just such a tragedy this happened. I really do hate it. I usually stay out of this kind of stuff and just let it take it. I know what's about to happen in Minneapolis. These people are very passionate about protest and stuff, and I really wish people would just stop and think for a moment and let these people do their jobs, because this is their job. They have to do this. It's what they're told to do. It's not like they are having fun out doing this, and it's just crazy for people to think that these people are weaponizing their badge to take advantage of people. It's not the case. There's people who broke the law. They're here illegally. With all the fraud that's been going on in Minnesota, it put a target on Minnesota. It's not the only state. Minneapolis isn't the only city all this is going on in. There's places in North Carolina, Pennsylvania that are exactly the same as Minneapolis, and they should be watching this with their Somali population they have. And if they would take care of their own fraud and keep the illegals out of their own city, ICE wouldn't even be there. So the mayor, the governor, the local law enforcement, they've all failed the citizens of Minneapolis because they allow this illegal activity to go on. If they would render that, then you wouldn't be having federal officers all up in your city. It's when you can't do your job. These people are not just confined to Minneapolis. They can leave Minneapolis and they can go anywhere in our country. And they're taking federal taxpayer dollars to survive on. Now, there's a bunch of fraud going on. I'm not saying they're all that way. I know they're not. some of the best friends I have are immigrants, and they're really good people. They work, contribute to society, they assimilated to you. Why would you come here from another country and then think you're going to turn this country into the country you left from? That's crazy. It's not going to happen. So if you want to come here and be an American because America's great, assimilate, go to work, contribute, and then America will take care of you when the time comes. But you can't just come here. I understand you got to have a start, and that's fine, but some of the fraud that's going on is ridiculous. It's crazy, and it needs to be stopped. That's what's wrong with our economy. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and pray for these people in Minneapolis. Pray for this lady. Pray for her family. It's such a tragedy. It really, really ticks me off that this has even happened. If these people would just let law enforcement do their job and let the court system sort it out. If the court makes a bad decision, protest that. Don't go out here and impede these law enforcement. Don't obstruct justice like this. Don't think before you act. With all the ice on the road and everything, this lady's got the road completely blocked off on both. I mean, these cops were well within their right to do what they did, and it's a bad thing, you know, but there could have been an officer ran over and killed too. He has a family just like anybody else. He's just doing his job. This lady evidently didn't have a job. I'm not trying to talk bad about her. It's just why these people would come out here and try to obstruct justice like this just doesn't make sense to me at all. Anyway, hope y'all have a good day. Hope you had a good New Year. Hope you have a good 2026. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe.
They're coming in, some other ice